Yeah, I'm Mike Rainville. My company is Maple Landmark Woodcraft in Middlebury. We make wooden toys, and we've been at it for over 34 years. About 40 people working very busily right now as the urgency of the holidays is upon us. But they let me be about myself, I guess. And I've been pretty involved in the wood products industry. I've been on the board of the Vermont Wood Manufacturers for 17 years plus, I don't know, something like that. So, you know, I guess I just kind of want to relate the perspective of wood products people trying to join in on this. The Working Lands Initiative is certainly a very new effort, and I don't want to take anything away from the agency people that have worked so hard to make all this work, but it is another program where there have been many programs before, and so there's a certain amount of plug and play, perhaps. I don't know if I'm being fair about that, but us in the wood products, we haven't had anything like this. So we found ourselves with an invitation to the party with the cool folks. And we had to figure out where the party was, and how do we dress, and how do we behave, and how does this work? How do we participate as equals or whatever? And it's been an interesting experience. The wood products industry is pretty important. I mean, 78% of our state is forested. It is the second largest manufacturing sector in the state after electronics. So it's big, and just like ag, you know, based on the working landscape, it is throughout the state. It's everywhere, so it has an impact everywhere. But a lot of people don't know or understand what the industry is about, and we were kind of strategizing about this a little bit. I was asked to give some background to the industry, because everywhere we go, people don't necessarily understand it real well, and we don't always understand it ourselves. So we all kind of work it together, I guess. But I'd like to think people know foods. I mean, you get 8 pages in the Free Press every week, and we get a story once in a while. So I'll fill you in a little, but the wood products industry is big, but it is in a precarious position. Every element in the supply chain has its challenges, and anybody in business has challenges nowadays. So we're not unique, but some of the specific things, landowners. I mean, we rely on those forests being healthy and being managed and being worked. If it wasn't for the current use program, having that land stay forested would be less viable. You can look out across the landscape, and somebody's paying taxes on an awful lot of that land. Some of it's public, but most of it's private. Loggers, it's increasingly capital intensive with equipment, cut down on the labor costs. And there's not many new people taking up the business either, and they're all kind of victims of the fickle weather that we have as to when they can get out into the woods and when they can't. Higher prices outside our borders often have the logs just leaving the state. So that's a challenge if you want to add value. Economic cycles have claimed a lot of our sawmills. There's far fewer mills than there were a generation ago, which is obviously a challenge to having an uneven supply. Products manufacturers have been combating import products from China and elsewhere for a good number of years. You heard this morning about level playing field, and that's something my business has to deal with. It's not a level playing field. So there's a lot of issues, and even with those that I discuss, these things, there's inconsistencies and disconnects just throughout the process, and it's something we're trying to get a handle on and understand as an industry, as well as the Working Lands Board. there are a lot of similarities with ag. You know, there's a reliance on commodities, and there's a reliance on specialty products. And I like to think that wood products have been probably more reliant on specialty longer. I don't know if that's the case, but it just seems that a lot of the commodity stuff in forest products disappeared longer, and dairy is still hanging on, being a significant part of the ag industry. The diversity, I like to say that wood products are really, the diversity of the products and the things that come out of the woods really make Vermont, make it very much part of Vermont's creative economy. Just mind-blowing variety of things that are made out of wood, from toys and furniture to cutting boards to and stuff of art quality, very much. Often things that can't be afforded by your average Vermonter. Things we sell them in other places where people do that. We don't have the farm to plate kind of plan. There is no start to finish, no strategy, no program. We have a lot of players that operate fairly independently of each other. Different nodes in the supply chain kind of take care of themselves and deal with the next one down, but there's not a cohesive pattern. Often people looking for Vermont wood to do a project have to look a little hard to be sure that they're actually getting Vermont wood, because it's a commodity that goes in and out of state. And sometimes it goes out of state just to be processed. Lack of mills, lack of dry kiln capacity. It's a little crazy when you send something to Massachusetts just to be kiln dried so you can bring it back to Vermont. It just doesn't make much sense. So there hasn't been a lot of moral or financial support for the industry, but we haven't been out there asking very much. It's a very inward-looking group of people, very tradition-based. It's an industry that's been going on for over 200 years, and it is pretty much rock commerce that has evolved as it has over that long period of time. And often people will say, well, that's business, that's the way it is. But if we have if there's a decline and it's valued by the people of the state of Vermont, we got to try to find ways of helping turn that around and make the value, especially when people are concerned about local. Might not be quite so concerned about where the wood products come from as they are food, but in the economic sense, people are concerned about jobs and livelihood and connection to the land. And if you have a land-based business that's started in Vermont, that's using Vermont materials, it's far less likely to be leaving Vermont as well. And you see so many companies that kind of grow up and leave. So there's a certain security, perhaps, in supporting the local economy in that fashion. So one of the initiatives we're looking at this year, the Enterprise Board, is to design a project that would be sort of a systems analysis of the wood products industry, the relationships, the economic dependencies, to try to put all that together. Now, there's been a lot of studies in the industry through the years, but they haven't really looked holistically at the whole business. And they're, we're hoping to see a gap analysis. Where are those gaps? Yeah, we know there's not enough mills, but what's the real economics of that? I mean, if the dry kilns have closed and left the state, well, there's economic reasons for that. So how do you buck that? Is there a way to buck that? We have seen through the first round of the applications, a lot of grants, a lot of people with a lot of creative ideas or ways of kind of reinventing how business happens. Larger mills may be shut down, but there's people wanting to build and grow smaller mills. Is that wise? Is that something that works? We're hoping maybe this analysis of the industry can help answer some of those questions and give the board the intelligence to know how to filter some of these ideas that come in. And we did, in the first round we financed a small dry kiln in the Northeast Kingdom There used to be a large kiln operation in the Northeast Kingdom, and they shut down, and the lumber is trucked to Massachusetts to be dried. Well, this operation can now dry some of their own lumber, and that's of value to woodworkers in that area. There's a CSA type of lumber startup that we funded in the Northeast, in the Northwest, in Franklin County. He's trying to figure out, do something different and creative, and it just sounds interesting. So, you know, we need to get a better handle on the industry. We're a little further behind on ag in terms of getting the scope of the whole thing, you know, kind of in view. But we know we need to solve that, and you know, just figure out how to dance with the rest of the party, I guess, and be a part and kind of raise our hand and get the attention a little bit and see what happens.